So what we usually do is go through your answers. I'm going to read through them one by one. The goal is to spot the grammar errors. So after we spot the grammar errors, I'll point those out and then I'll let you know a better way of saying what you're going to say. One of the things that you might have noticed already as you were writing the exercises is that many of these questions and many of the sentences or statements that you ended up writing are the exact same sentences and statements that ends up being used in conversations when you're meeting new people or during interviews, right?
Yeah.
Our goal is to get you comfortable expressing yourself, and the best way to do that is to focus on your introduction, like introducing yourself. The second part is asking and answering questions. The third part is giving instructions, and the fourth part is telling stories. If your goal is to do well working in a call center, the things that you need to focus on are giving instructions, because 90% of the time when you answer a customer's concern, it's all about giving instructions. And then if you're trying to convince people or if you're trying to get people to cooperate with you, your approach would be to tell stories. In an interview, the most important thing is you tell good stories. It's also important when you're in a situation where you have to convince other people. You use stories to convince people. Anyway, let's start. Lesson 1. My name is Jonel. I live in San Pedro. So kulang ng D. Laguna. I studied at PUP with A. So kulang ng A. Bachelor's degree in education. And I think capital dapat to. Usually, pag nakikita ko yung name of course, capital yung ano.
By the way, are you gonna send me or are you gonna send it back to me with corrections?
I'm recording the video. We're going through your answers. You'll need to do the corrections on your own. The recording will contain the instructions. One of the things that I've discovered is if I'm the one doing the corrections, usually what happens is hindi siya na-absorb as much compared to the person doing the corrections. Anyway, here I do hate my English back when I was a I do hate English back when I wasn't a graduate. I think what you meant to say is I did hate English back when I was still studying.
Ay.
Back when I was a graduate. It's like you're saying you were still a student. I imagine you wrote this sentence because you were thinking about this, saying this in Tagalog.
Ay.
Nung hindi pa ako gumagraduate, ayoko ng English. The thing there is, nung hindi pa ako gumagraduate, ang ibig sabihin, estudyante ka pa. So parang merong additional problem solving involved para magets tong sentence na to. And when it comes to communication, one of the things that you want to do is you want to eliminate the problem solving needed to understand what you say. So it has to be more direct. So when you were still a student, hindi back when you weren't a graduate, because that's not how people talk. One of the tricks that I learned when we began to have the internet and when I worked as a professional writer is if you're not sure with a sentence, even without using tools like grammar check or anything like that, one of the things that you can do is you can try typing in elements of the sentence that you want to say and just search it on Google. And if you see it showing up in other people's sentences, then that's correct.
I actually did that.
Okay. If you see other people in blog posts or articles or news where there's a very similar sentence, nagbago lang yung subject or nagbago lang yung verb, use that format. If you search the term how do I or how do we, like you're not sure, do I use how do I or how do we? You can see like if it's being used for that same use that you plan to use it for, you're fine. Okay?
I'm just having a problem with while surfing on Facebook because I usually encounter some grammatically incorrect sentences. Which I adapted already.
One of the things that you can do is you can use grammar correction tools. You can use Grammarly when you're composing on your computer.
I actually tried to use the trial, but that's for only 3 weeks, I think.
Okay. Google Docs has built-in grammar check. So Google Docs is
Mm,
like Microsoft Word, but it's made by Google.
I
So
haven't used a Google Docs
yeah,
before,
you can try
so
that.
I'll try that later.
I bear in mind that if I'm not good in English, I should be good in math. Not necessarily. Capital E in English kasi it's a
Ah,
proper noun. But later on, it hit me if my dream is now is to teach abroad, walang in.
but later on reality hit me.
But I
I'm
must,
sorry,
yeah, but later on, reality hit me. Incomplete siya.
incomplete thought.
Kung gusto mo talagang ipilit tong reality hit me, kasi figure of speech to eh. Separate sentence siya. Later on, reality hit me, period. Tapos next sentence, my dream is to,
Later on reality
oo,
hit.
if
Is it reality hits me or hit me?
hit me lang, hindi hits me. I added a new module. The title is Removing Bad Habits. Did you get to see that?
Oh yeah, I have read that already.
Okay, it's like 27 pages, I think.
Mm.
That's really important because this is the perfect example of the reason why you want to break down your sentences into smaller units. Ito, but later on, reality hit me. If my dream now is to teach in abroad, these are two simple sentences. Later on, reality hit me, period. My dream now is to teach abroad.
Mm.
But you try to put together these two ideas, and as a result, ang ending niya grammar error, di ba? If we read this aloud, maririnig mo parang mali, parang hindi to kompleto. I must be good in English, especially in conversational. Pwedeng, I need to be good at
Yeah.
conversational English.
I need to be conversational English.
Yeah. I have a question though, before we continue. Are you good in math?
Not really.
Not really. Okay. Because I was wondering
Yeah.
if you're good in math. Kasi if you're good in math, I would have explained that this formula, this lesson that I'm teaching, is something that I've learned from math. In math,
Yeah.
they teach us that if there's a long, complicated equation, you have to simplify it. You have to break it
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
And that's what I do. I use a math problem solving technique to solve an English problem.
Yeah, I actually observed that.
It's like math rules. I must be good in English, especially. That's one of the problems. I follow the format of shortening the sentences. I also follow the format of canceling out redundant words. I was planning to career shift after I graduated, but I decided to at least try to teach. This could be I was planning a career shift after I graduated, period. I was planning a career shift after I graduated. So you stop there. So that's a sentence. The next sentence should be I tried to teach before shifting or something like that. My first job was at AME Computer College as math teacher. I enjoyed teaching. Yung comma is after the word and then space.
I'm sorry, please.
The comma, it should be after the word and then space. So if you're typing a word, you hit comma after you type the word. Wala bago ka mag-hit ng space bar.
Comma, then comma after the word.
Yeah, so if you're writing like I enjoy teaching, comma, space, however. Oo.
Okay.
Kasi ang ginawa mo, I enjoy teaching, space, comma, tapos walang space, however. So, yun yung ano niya. I know for my salary is not enough to Ito, you can break this down into two sentences. I enjoy teaching. Pwede mo na itigil to, period. And then however, new sentence na. I know for myself, my salary is not enough to fulfill my dreams. May mga typo ka dito and you can use, most of the problems here can be spell check. Yung typo problems, like those needs to be fixed. To be honest, before I don't have a dream job. What I only have is my dream to make my family's dream granted. So classic high school sentence construction. Yung tinuro sa atin, gumamit tayo ng compound complex sentence. If you're speaking to Americans or people who have English as their first language or have English as their only language, you have to avoid words like to be honest. Kasi as Filipinos, naiintindihan ko, sa Taglish, when you translate what we really mean as Filipinos, so Filipinos lang, when you use the words to be honest or honestly or actually, our intention is to emphasize kung ano yung sasabihin natin.
Yeah.
Kaya mo linagay ito dito. The problem with that, to normal English speakers, ang dating sa kanila, when you use the word honestly or actually, it means na lahat ng sinabi mo na words or statements or sentences bago yung word na actually or honestly ay kasinungalingan. It's an extremely negative thing to say, actually or honestly, in a conversation. Kasi parang ang dating, bumebuelo ka para magsabi ng totoo. It means na lahat ng sinabi mo before that is hindi totoo. Remove the to be honest. You can directly say, I don't have a dream job. Period. Next sentence. My dream is to fulfill, make my family's dream granted. Baliktad, passive to. Minimize yung use ng passive voice. Naalala mo yung active and passive voice? Active voice and passive voice. And marami tayong exercises back in high school where you have to convert something from active voice to passive voice. In business communication, when you're trying to sell something, when you're talking to people, you don't use passive voice. Tanungin mo ako, Kevin, what did you have for breakfast?
Kevin, what did you have for breakfast?
The egg entered my mouth. Or the egg was eaten by me. Tama, mali?
I'm not sure if it's wrong, but
Sounds
I think
weird.
it's correct that you use some jargon.
Sa active voice, the subject is the doer of the action. Diba sinabi ko, the egg entered my mouth or
Kailan po ba talaga gagamitin si active and passive voice?
gagamitin mo si active most of the time. Like 90%, 99% of the time pag business communication. Automatic, tanggal lahat ng passive voice sa communication mo. Ang proper answer dun sa Kevin, what did you have for breakfast is I ate, I, subject, ate, verb, an egg. Yung receiver ng action. I ate an egg. Hindi yung an egg entered my mouth or something like that. Dapat, yung subject, ako yung gumagawa ng action. I think 70 or 80%, maybe 90% kuha mo na to. Kasi, yung mga sentence mo, I live in San Pedro, Laguna, I studied at PUP, I do hate English, I bear in mind. So, ikaw yung subject, ikaw rin yung doer most of the time. Pero may mga, lumalabas to sa mga complex sentences mo. Nawawala yung active voice.
Nagkakaroon ko siya ng problem dun sa dalawa, one sentence siya. Hindi ako sure kung may complete topic.
Lakasan mo.
Kung tama yung tawag dito, yung pagkakasunod-sunod niya sa sentence ko.
Yeah. When you use complex sentences, parang nakakalito talaga. Kasi parang ang nangyari dito, to be honest before, so, every time na nagdadagdag ka ng words na ganito, na nadadagdagan ng complexity, sorry, hindi pala yung screen. Ito. So, yung to be honest before, tong to be honest before na sentence, I don't have a dream job. What I only have is my dream job to make my family's dream granted. Parang ang nangyari, tong to be honest before, pag tinanggal mo to, the sentence means the same thing. Pero pag dinagdag mo to, nakakalito, hindi mo alam kung magiging active or passive yung sentence. Kasi, ang nangyari dito, to be honest before, I don't have a dream job. Kung tumigil ka na dito, active yung sentence. What I only have is my dream job to make my family's dream granted. Itong phrase, or itong section na to where you said, to make my family's dream granted, ito yung passive. And ma-identify mo to kung maiksi na siya. But how could I grant their dreams if my salary isn't enough for our needs, hindi to our needs? Whenever you use the word to, it means papunta doon. Going to. I'm going to the mall.
Ano po din, how could I grant their dreams if my salary isn't enough? Or
dapat for to. If my salary isn't enough, ang ginamit mo to, papalitan to ng for, F-O-R.
Nawawala po kayo.
Ah, okay.
Ah,
Ayan, okay na?
okay na.
Hello? Okay. Oh, the other thing is lakasan mo yung volume when you speak. Okay. Um, I enjoy teaching. But how could I grant their dreams if my salary isn't enough for our needs? Uh, Needs talaga. May S talaga. Kasi marami, hindi naman isa lang eh. Aside from, ayun, siguro hindi ka sure, kaya tinry mo needs dun sa isa, tapos need lang dun sa isa. One of the things that's different with me is hindi ako talented or expert sa grammar. And the benefit of having an instructor like that is naiintindihan ko yung intention mo bakit mo sinulat siya in that way. If you're talking to an expert, automatic ang sasabihin yan, mali yan, but won't be able to explain or understand. Kasi for them, tama. Parang there's just this very specific way of how to do that. Wala explanation, parang ang sagot lang niya, common sense na to. Aside from I'll be able to support my family's needs, I could also learn from being a call center agent. So isang sentence dapat to, hindi to dapat magkahiwalay. Kasi parang incomplete eh. Aside from I'll be able to support my family's need, incomplete siya. So parang clause lang to, hindi to complete sentence. So dapat nakakonect siya dun sa susunod. Then I decided to apply in the call center industry. Pwede man tanggalin yung then. I had a little idea about this industry but I was scared because this job requires a skill that I was weak at.
Ano po yung dapat po pagsamahin kanina yung napansin?
Okay, dito sa aside from I'll be able to support my family's needs.
Doon po sa item also there.
Oo, connected siya dapat dun sa ano. Kasi incomplete siya eh. When you read your work, pag binasa mo siya aloud, are the sentences going to work independently? Kung hindi siya connected dun sa ibang sinasabi mo, tapos yun lang yung sentence na babasahin mo, does the sentence make sense? Yun yung gagawin mo para ma-check mo siya. Pwede mong tanggalin yung then, dun sa then, I decided to apply in the call center industry. I had a little idea about this industry but I was scared because this job requires kulang ng A skill that I was weak at. I'm a person who regrets not to try. Not trying. After so many trials, I was just fortunate I made it. It was my birthday, hindi birth date.
Kailan mo ba ginagamit?
Yung birth date ginagamit sa forms. Pero if you're using it in a conversation, birthday, hindi ka naman nakakarinig ng, you're invited on my birth date. Let's have a party on my birth date.
Kala ko nung talong pagpas pinag-usapan.
Na yung birth date, makikita mo lang yan sa mga forms, application forms, sa mga birth date. Pero in conversation, hindi ginagamit yan. Unless yung conversation may tungkol dun sa form. You forgot to answer the birth date section. Pero birthday talaga. Back in high school, pinupush nila tayo na to use the more complicated set of words, diba? Pero in reality, paglabas mo ng school, you really need to use the simpler words. I realize even if, so kulang ng if, we're adults, we still need to review. May S dapat yung adult. Adults dapat to. 3 months later, I was terminated due to performance. Pwede man nang tanggalin yung but. Instead of surrendering, I tried, T-R-I-E-D, to apply the next day. And after a week, I got hired. I was working with a telco account, but it didn't go smoothly. Diba, go and went, interchangeable siya depending on the situation. In this case, go dapat to. It didn't go smoothly.
Kung na yung gagamitin ko, yes, hello.
Oo, dapat go to. it didn't go smoothly. If you search Google, try mo, it didn't went. So this is more complicated than I thought. Ang recommendation lang dito sa when I search for it is it didn't go. Puro go yung kasunod dun sa sentence. After 5 months, I decided to resign. Walang ED. Since almost all my colleagues were planning as well. Teka lang, titigil muna ako dito. When you begin working, you should never feel attached to your coworkers. When you begin working, you should never feel attached to your coworkers. Uso yan in any job, not just call center. It also happens sa sales. It also happens to other industries that I've been to. Maraming mag-encourage sa'yo na mag-resign. Halika na, quit na tayo. Tapos alam mo mangyayari? Ang mangyayari niyan, maniniwala ka, mag-quit ka, tapos magugulat ka yung magyayaya sa'yo mag-quit, siya pa rin yung nandun. Or, kung ambitious yung nag-aaya sa'yo mag-resign, aayain ka, hihikayatin ka niya mag-resign, tapos hindi siya aalis. Ngayon, kung patapon yung klase ng person na nag-aaya sa'yo mag-resign, wala. Gusto lang niya ng kasama. One of the things na natutunan ko is sa work wala ka talagang kaibigan. Lahat ng coworkers mo, competitors mo. And pag humingi ka ng advice sa coworker mo, 90% of the time, bad advice yun. The only person na mapagkakatiwalaan mo, like that's the closest thing na mapagkakatiwalaan mo, yung boss mo, yung owner ng company. Kasi yung coworker mo, sarili lang niya iniisip. So, yun may colleague, yung mga colleagues mo, halika, resign na tayo, list na tayo, may alam ako magandang offer. Nangyayari yan. That's why sa call center, parang 90% ng batch namin na tanggal within the first year. 90%. So out of 30 trainees, 3 lang kaming natira doon. Nag-start kami 2013, 2014, 3 na lang kami. You need to have a mindset na ikaw lang yung magsusurvive. Lahat sila mamamatay. And ganun talaga. That's the nature of things. Sa kahit anong naging trabaho ko na nagtagal ako, 90% ng tao na naging katrabaho ko nawala. And it's not a pakikisama thing. It's that there are people who do not have the discipline to do the work or they do not have the mental toughness to stay disciplined. Yun yung problema. Kasi work in business, lagi nilang kino-compare yung business art of war. Mahirap yung ginagawa nyo eh. You're trying to make millions for a company. Kung call center yung work mo, dead air ka na kasi hindi ka nagre-respond dun sa kausap mo. I work in real estate as a property consultant for a while and became jobless for almost half a year. Nakabenta ka as a property consultant?
Yes po.
Ilan ang nabenta mo? 3. Okay, so you made some money from that. That's good. Kasi same statistic, 98% ng property consultants don't make money. And sa insurance, the same din. 98% of insurance agents don't make money. I was away from my goals then. Bakit away from your goals?
Parang nakasama tayo yung mga yung last year doon na after na rin mag-realistic yung mga plano na busa na nakama yung version. Kasi na tawag ito. Hindi ko natuloy kasi na nagpapagay.
Okay.
Dapat po mag-start na about work na tawag ito. Mag-tipo kasi ako dito sa real estate. Kasi after 3 months lang yung nila. 3 months lang yung allowance nila.
Mm-hmm.
Pagkatapos na, wala na po. Kasi ang kailangan po kada buwan may nabibenta. Tuloy-tuloy po yung allowance. Ay yung mga tawag dito, yung commission naman po every year pa nakukuha. Pag na...
Every year? Hindi pag nagbayad?
Yung, ang nakalagay ko sa milestone namin, kada may nagbabayad. Kaso yung tawag dito,
So makukuha mo pa rin yung commission mo dun sa 3 benta mo?
nakuha ko na po yung iba lang.
makukuha mo pa rin yon o thank you na yon.
Kuha ko po yun.
Okay. So, yun, at least yun, good yun.
Ito parang ano rin, parang investment mo rin. Kasi yung sinawag mo before, pinangbus mo ng page. Pinanggastos mo kay client. Parang naipon lang siya.
I was away from, so right now, I'm working as a call center agent in a financial account. I just realized, so kulang ng D, that capital E, English communication skills, is really important because if you're not really good, you'll end up frustrated. This is one of the things na na-realize ko na nagtrabaho ako sa call center agent. 90% ng stressed na agents ay hindi maganda yung English nila. Mahina ako sa lahat ng KPI. Ang sinabi lang sa akin ng boss ko, the only reason ba't hindi kita tinatanggal, wala kang attendance violation at maayos yung English mo. And in-explain niya sa akin na advantage yun, lalo na kung ang customer ko ay racist or yung customer ko ay naghahanap ng supervisor or ng American agent. Kasi pag nagsalita ako, kumakalma sila dahil yung English ko maayos. Hindi ako tunog Pilipino. Or at least yun yung sabi niya sa akin. I'm still dreaming of getting a job who has walang T, paying salary, and I'm not gonna stop learning.
I was dreaming of getting a job who has high paying salary.
Hindi who, that. Pag who, ibig sabihin tao. Parang I'm dreaming of getting a girlfriend who has a high salary. Parang ganun yung dating ng sentence mo pag ginamit mo yung who. Pag job, that. Pag who person,
that has a high or that has high.
That has a high paying salary.
Kailan po ba gagamit talaga ng E or an?
Nang?
After ng word, ng E at an. Yung pagkakaalam ko pa kasi parang ang hindi lang ginagamitan yung mga parang pangalan.
Hindi ko maalala yung rule ngayon. Pero parang alam ko lang na ganun siya. A and at. Baka meron sa reference. Sandali lang ah. When do you use a and an? Use a before words that start with a consonant sound and an before words that start with a vowel sound. Other letters can also be pronounced either way. Just remember the sound governs whether you use a or an, not the actual first letter of the word. Okay.
Pero yung mismong word ko, ano po dapat siya? Para kailangan gamitin. Tawag ko ng A, diba? Sa kanan. Or sa kada parang definitive and definitive.
You use a or an when you're referring to an object. Hello, teka. Week 2. What's your nickname, Jonel? Where are you from? I'm from Laguna. I live in San Pedro. Parang inano mo lang ah. Parang copy-paste lang tong part na to. What do you enjoy doing? I enjoy studying. I love playing sports, specifically basketball. Di tanggalin mo na to. I love yung sports. Sabihin mo na lang, I love playing basketball. I like playing online games like Valorant. I also like eating street food. Walang S, yung street food. How do you spend your free time? I spend most of my time studying. I try to get enough sleep every weekends. I watch Netflix movies and have some snacks. Pwede mo nang tanggalin yung some and have snacks with my partner. Where did you go to school? I graduated from PUP. What course did you study? I took up Capital I, Secondary Education. Where did you work? I work from home as a voice service associate. What kind of work do you do? I work as a voice service associate. I request bank statements, kulang ng S, from different lenders. Bank statements kasi more than one. Hindi naman isa lang to eh. I order documents. So, yun, S din. Kasi more than one using automated fax, emails, and CSR. Where do you go to church? I go to the nearest Catholic church in our subdivision. What kind of sports do you engage in? I play basketball with my friends in a private court. So, kailangan mo lagyan ng A. So, yun yung kailangan mong tandaan. Like, you need to get used to, adding A or at or an dun sa mga, sentences mo. Kasi yun yung common na missing. How old are you? I'm 26 years old. How many siblings do you have? I have 2 brothers and I'm the youngest one. What's your family business? Right now, we don't have a family business but we're planning next year. So, hindi mo sinagot. Ano yung family business nyo next year?
Ano po yung bet na pinaplan namin?
Yep.
Wala po sa ngayon eh. Ito lang alam ko rin eh. So, nag-aanangan pa lang kami. Pero plano na
Okay. Yeah. So, yun lang. When you answer the sentence, kailangan kompleto. Dito na tayo sa instructions part. How to commute from San Pedro, Laguna to Alabang. I live in San Pedro, Laguna since birth. San Pedro City holds the record of the longest Sampaguita flower spanning 3.6 kilometer. This city is a first-class city in the province of Laguna. As San Pedro becomes a city, traffic has begun. The city where I work, walang with. Where I worked before is in Alabang. Alabang, Muntinlupa has many BPO companies. Most of the people in the south are working in Alabang. Although there are BPO companies located in the south, they choose in Alabang because it's Manila rate. The travel time starting from home to Alabang is usually an hour. I'll use the example of my previous job. I used to work at Amazon in Alabang. Our office is located at Vector 39 in Northgate. Vector 3 in Northgate, Alabang. That building is beside, walang off, Infosys, if you're familiar. Yes, I am familiar. My shift is usually 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. I usually leave home, walang at. I usually leave home.
Wala na rin kung at sana, at 9 p.m.
Hindi, meron. Kasi it indicates time. Pero pag it indicates place, pero ano kasi, leave home before 4 p.m. or exactly at 4 p.m. depending on my shift. So yun lang yung at na tatanggalin mo. Hindi mo tatanggalin yung at dito sa 4 p.m. I get up early so I could arrive in the office early. This was my first call center job. Since I was a newbie, I needed to go the extra mile. Hindi give an extra mile. Go the extra mile. If I'm still sleepy, I would go to the nap room for 30 minutes. Or I would take a nap for 30 minutes. Hindi mo na kailangan sabihin na, dun ka pupunta. And I go back to the production area to study. This is just a summary of how I ride going to work. First, I walk for 3 to 4 minutes from our home or my home.
And go back at the production to study.
Production, teka lang. Area. And go back to the production area to study. Kasi parang hindi nagme-make sense yung sentence mo dito. Kaya natin ni-specify yung area. When I get there, I ride the tricycle and I get off at Pasita. Hindi in Pasita. At siya. Pasita is where I always eat pares.
Kaya, yung kabayan.
At tama, dun yung dulo na binababaan ng bus. Yung ba yung sa may pure gold? Tapat ng Shopwise.
Shopwise. Shopwise.
Yung mga, may pares dun eh.
Oo. Tapos kaya kumakain doon.
Yung tapat, yung pagtawid mo ng Shopwise, di ba may parang parking area?
Parang prepared doon.
Oo.
May lunch na.
Meron kaming family member na ospital malapit doon. So doon ako bumababa, kakain muna ako tapos pupunta ako ospital. In there, you can go to Alabang by riding a jeepney. Wala nang in. Riding a jeepney, van, or bus. Depending on...
Tatanggalin in there or there.
Sorry?
Ano ba yung tatanggalin na in?
Yung in, dun sa, if in there, sorry.
Tatanggalin ko yun.
Tanggalin mo na rin yung in there. Kasi hindi naman siya nag-aano dun sa sentence. You can go to Alabang by riding a jeep. Yung in, tanggalin mo dito. Yung kasunod ng riding. You can go to Alabang by riding a jeepney, van, or bus. Depending on you, if you want to arrive early at the office, you should take a van, but it costs 50 pesos. And the route is different to ride in a jeepney and a bus. Okay? Actually, tanggalin mo yung actually, I haven't experienced riding a bus. Right? Tanggalin mo na yung on. Riding a bus from Pasita to Alabang. That's why I don't know how much the fare is. But if you want to ride the cheapest fare, you could ride a jeepney. It only costs 20 pesos, but it isn't air conditioned. You'll be dropped off either Festival Mall, South Mall, or South Station, depending on the signage of the public transportation. In Alabang, you could ride or walk depending on what you want. If your shift is about to start, you could take an e-jeep. Sometimes, tanggalin mo na yung but, sometimes the line is long for you to ride is long. Sometimes the line is long na lang. Tapos next sentence, sometimes the ride is long. I would suggest that you walk since it only consumes 8 to 10 minutes, I think. I don't usually buy food at work. I always bring food so I can save my money. My commute home baliktad. My commute home also has a different story. It could be 25 to 30 minutes or an hour as well, depending on the available public transportation in Alabang. Okay. My favorite song. I don't know if I have a favorite song. I always play random songs. Nga pala, before I begin, alam mo kung bakit ko tinatanong to? Yung favorite song tsaka favorite movie.
Usually kasama siya sa interview.
Tama. Ang dami kong nakakausap na students, sasabihin nila sa akin, nanonood sila ng English movie para ma-enhance yung English skills nila. So tatanungin ko sila, what's your favorite English movie? Sabihin nila yung title, and it's usually something popular like Harry Potter, Hunger Games, 50 Shades of Grey. Basta yung sikat, recent na sikat, Star Wars. Tapos tatanong ko, tell me a story about that movie. Tapos wala na. So you need to have these in your list of stories. I don't know if I have a favorite song. Tama. I always play random songs depending on my mood, but I'm not a hypocrite. I do love listening to songs. So kulang ng two. I think I prefer. So kulang ng I din to. I think I prefer long songs depending on the singer's voice. Tanggalin mo actually. I think I prefer long songs. Kulang ng I. Tanggalin mo actually. The sentence is going to sound exactly the same. Some of my cousins are singers. Right? Whenever they sing on television, Wag was, I'm very proud of them. Kasi pag was, ibig sabihin past. Ibig sabihin tapos na. I can also sing, but not as good as them. Let me say, my favorite songs are love songs. Tanggalin mo na yung let me say. Kasi hindi naman hinihingi yung permission. I'm not going to name a specific song, but the reason why I love songs because it makes me feel happy. Okay, especially those songs who are likely serenade. Whenever I'm hearing a love song, I feel like I'm the one who's singing the song for someone. I just want a chill song together with my someone. Sweet. Though some of those songs are for broken, I don't literally feel like that. Okay? But what I really like most is when I'm listening to music. When I was when I am listening to music is where I was. Ano? Parang, teka, hindi nag-make sense tong sentence na to ah. So what you really like most is what? Ano? Continue mo.
Where I was at my,
Okay.
parang ano, mali na nga kayo.
Ano gusto mo sabihin
Yung
dito?
parang ang ano mo, focus mo parang nagaganda ang mga kinakain kapag yung pagkawit. Halimbawa, nasa beach na, maganda yung place. Parang gano'n.
So connected to dun sa susunod na sentence. Okay. Ulitin mo yung part na yan kasi parang ano, hindi siya nag-make sense. I-connect mo or i-rewrite mo yung sentence na yan. My favorite movie, I'm a type of person who don't literally know what's really like. I'm not going to be KJ here. I do love watching movies, especially Netflix. A movie that really catch me is a Japanese movie. And the title of the movie is Weathering With You. Panood ko yun, pero hindi ko natapos. Actually, yun yung gumawa ng ng Your Name eh. Actually, this movie is an anime and I was... Ha? Hmm?
With ano na po yan, lesson ano na po yan.
Same, yung kasunod ng favorite song.
Wala yun. Okay na ba?
Ayun. Remove actually. And I was but catched by this movie. Parang nabangha ka, I was catched with this movie. Pwede mo sabihin I like this movie. Okay lang yun. Because I was expecting before that this movie wasn't going to make me cry. I was actually invited by my friend, unplanned, since he was a big fan of anime and was waiting for that movie to release. He's looking for someone to accompany him watching next movie date. Since I wasn't busy at the time, I decided to go with him. I asked him what the movie's about, and he said, "You're gonna like it." I was thinking the movie trip is going to be boring, hindi bored. Ang boring, ang ibig sabihin kasi yung movie. Pag sinabi mong bored, yun yung state ng person. Okay? So, ikaw yung bored kung bored yung word na gagamitin mo. So, I was thinking I'm going to be bored. Pero, pag sinabi mong yung movie yung boring, I'm thinking the movie is going to be boring. So, gets mo? So, kung yung movie, boring. Kung ikaw, bored. Okay. But I was shocked because at the middle of the movie, my tears were coming. I just didn't expect the movie will make me addicted to watching anime. Now, I'm a lover of anime movies. Common pronunciation mistakes. Committing mistakes is unavoidable, hindi unavoidance. Especially if you're doing this doing a thing for the first time. For me, it's normal as long as you're doing something to lessen your mistakes. And yun lang naman talaga yung ginagawa natin. Binabawasan natin. Pinapoint out ko yung mistakes mo and binabawasan natin. Until eventually, konti na lang na hindi na siya problema. Before I study this lesson, I've tried to review them so many times. I'm pretty sure you'll get to know as long as you'll keep going. So, since week 2 ka na, ang focus natin, when you get to week 2, ang pronunciation part ng activity natin is yung top 100 most used words in the English language. So, yung top 100 most used words, dapat wala kang pronunciation error doon kasi yun yung ginagamit more than 50% of the time. So, 50% of your score is 100 words. So, kailangan wala kang error doon. Kasi pag may error ka doon ka makakarinig ng I wanna speak to an American agent or I wanna speak to a supervisor.
Ano po yung parang magre-record nyo? Hindi ko pa kasi masyado na...
Ang gagawin mo, kasi parang binake down namin kasi sobrang nakakapagod or nakaka-stress. Report yun sa dating module eh. Kasi nagre-require kami na part 1, magsusulat ka ng sentences. Two sentences lang for each word. So, 1 to 20. So malamang ang ending nun, 40 words. 40 sentences. Pero, simple sentences lang. So, kunyari, the car is red, the truck is green. Yung mga simple lang. Record mo. Basahin mo lang 1 to 20. Kasi every week after that is, what do you call that? Every week after that is, kunyari, 1 to 20. Next is 21 to 40. Next week, it's 41. Until matapos natin yung 100. Before phone coaching, papakinggan natin yung recording mo. Tapos ipo-point out ko yung error.
Nandun naman po yung instruction sa module na...
Yep. Here's what I've learned. I've learned the easiest way on pronouncing the hardest letters in Filipino. I was able to practice a tongue twister. I was actually having a hard time pronouncing. A letter S yung problema mo. Sabihin mo nga sharpen. So.
Ano po?
So. Has. Tama naman yung tunog Anong problema?
Dati po, na yun ang problema ko. Tapos pinapractice ko lang siya. Pinakikinggan ko siya ng pinakikinggan. Tapos inaayos-ayos ko lang yung bigla.
Okay. Ano yung problema mo dati? Anong tunog nun?
Parang naputang. Parang nakakagat yung bigla ako. Parang nagiging P.
Nagiging anong tunog?
Nagiging P yung X ko. P. Tango. Nagiging P.
Okay.
Instead na S yung sound.
Okay. I just noticed this when I was in high school. I actually tried to work on it, but I'm not sure if I can pronounce it correctly. This is actually a big help. I read a lot of tongue twisters and watched more videos, especially the video you recommended. To be honest, I don't have a problem with B, V, P, and F before. I just discovered this when I was in the call center industry. I tend to imitate most of my colleagues, especially those who are tenured. Yun lang gagawin mo. Just follow people who are better than you. I was just wondering before how they were able to get higher VOC. Okay. So, the same as you but not as good as you. But I keep observing and thinking what's their secret. And yes, I was trying to do their practices. One sentence paragraph. Most Filipinos are having a hard time writing in English. And I think one of the main factor why most of us are having a hard time also in speaking. Some of us are good in speaking but not really in writing. Some of us are good in writing but not in speaking. But few of us are good in writing and speaking. Do you consider yourself as an introvert or extrovert?
Hindi ko po maintindihan kasi minsan, halimbawa magkamag-anak ko, tahimik ako. Pero pag mga kaibigan ko, okay naman ako. Kaya minsan hindi ko rin maintindihan ko introvert or extrovert ako.
Okay. May papel ka dyan?
Meron po, maliit ka.
Okay. Sulat mo to. Big 5 personality test.
Big 5?
Personality test. I-take mo yung test na yan pag sa day off mo, sa rest day mo.
Search ko lang sa Google.
Search mo lang sa Google. May mga nagbebenta niyan, meron ding free version. Para sa akin, okay na yung free version. Basta free version lang yung kukunin mo, huwag ka kukuha ng paid. Big 5 personality test, take mo yan. make sure na i-take mo yan na sa rest day mo. Make sure na kompleto yung tulog mo tsaka nakakain ka na. Kasi pag puyat ka or hindi ka pa kumakain, nag-iiba yung score. Doon mo malalaman kung totoong introvert ka or extrovert ka. Save mo yung score mo tapos padala mo sa akin. May mga isi-share ako sa'yo. Nag-take ako ng course about personality psychology. Pwede kita bigyan ng feedback dyan. I just have some observations that most teenagers... Ito kasi, personally introvert ako. Pero meron akong training na kung paano maging extrovert. Kaya kaya ko makipag-usap sa tao. Nagtrabaho ako sa sales, nagtrabaho ako sa call center. Kaya ko makipag-usap sa tao. Although hindi ko siya kayang gawin ng sobrang tagal. Kaya usually parang phone coaching, 2 or 3 lang per day. Yun lang yung kaya ko. Tapos ano na ako, parang kailangan ko na matulog. Ganun din ganun din nung nagtrabaho ako sa call center after ko makipag-usap din sa mga customers, parang parang ayoko na. Ayoko na makipag-usap. Gusto ko tahimik na lang. Pupunta ako sa mall, magtitingin-tingin lang or magbabasa. Ayoko nang makarinig ng conversation. Talaga. So baka nagli-lean ka toward being introvert. So, dahil ganun, para ma-improve ko yung communication skills ko, dahil pagod na ako, kung nakikipag-usap ka sa customers araw-araw, alam nga naman makipag-usap ka pa sa ibang tao para mag-improve yung English. Although nakakatulong yun, siguro once a week. Pero everyday, ano yung practice mo? The best way na nakita ko para mag-practice is writing talaga. Ang ginagawa ko, ikaw, binibigay ko sa iyo tong advice na to since nagtatrabaho ka na sa call center. Sulat mo yung spiel mo. I-one sentence paragraph mo rin, i-breakdown mo rin to shorten sentences. Tanggalin mo lahat ng redundant. Kung problema mo EHT, tanggalin mo lahat ng redundant. Kung ang problema mo ay VOC, tignan mong mabuti lahat ng phrasing mo. Positive phrasing ba to lahat? Ang other thing na kailangan mong tignan ano yung mga words or ano yung phrases na sinasabi mo na nagtitrigger ng negative response dun sa customer. Ang best example na naisip ko is, kunyari, meron kayong company policy na you can't do something na hindi out of scope. Hindi mo pwedeng sabihin sa customer directly na, sorry ma'am, I can't do that. Kasi syempre, pag may request yung tao tapos rineject yung request, they tend to take that personally. Pero if you were to listen to the customer and try to understand what they're trying to do, ano ba account mo ngayon? Back office. So, yun, kunyari nagre-reject ka ng request,
more on email.
Mhm.
Tapos
Okay. So,
pero itong January ko, kailangan mong magpalipat ng account ng department.
pwede yun sa inyo?
Opo, gusto naman nila yung internet highway.
Okay.
Nakawala naman po ang plano ng internet. Magpapalo-palo na gaya natin.
Mhm.
Kasi another reason kung ba't ako nakapag-fight ako. Kasi natakot din ako kasi mag-dahil sa tilipan ko.
Mhm.
Nakakot ako kasi initially nakasama ko yung PL national. Kaya diba kapag-student, makakadami.
Lahat sila,
Nag-installate. Nag-installate nila yung PL. Magalit nila.
Okay.
Tapos natakot yung dalawa na baka yun lang ma-regular. Kasi nga, galit mo sa buong Finland.
The best thing na magagawa mo dyan, if you can stay with the company for 2 years or longer, napakadaling lumipat ng trabaho after that. In comparison,
Nakahanap po kasi kami nanganap dati ng may malaking offer na knowing na pag nagtrabaho ka ng 1 year or 2 years, tataas din naman.
sa call center, kasi based on experience, 2 years experience yung kinakount as tenured . So, 2 years with one company. Hindi yung paulit-ulit ka. Kasi dati yung work history ko, ganun din. Palipat-lipat din ako. Tapos, parang ang hirap makascore sa mga companies na malaki yung offer. Tapos, nung nagtrabaho ako for a company na medyo matagal-tagal, yun na, doon na nagsimula. Hindi na ako tinatanong na how can you guarantee that you will stay with us long term? Kasi nasa resume mo na. Yep.
Sorry po kasi kasi hindi ako ganun kagaling sa yung salitaan ko ngayon. Medyo naibigay ako. Tapos parang minsan alam ko na yung sentence, nababalik-balik sa salitaan.
Hindi, ang problema kasi, nagko-compose ka on the spot.
Yun nga po. Yun nga rin naman yung sinabi. On the spot yung composition.
Ang laki ng difference ng prepared ka dun sa hindi ka prepared.
Nakakapag-usap na po ako ng English pa rin. Ano yung work?
Mm-hmm.
Tapos kapag yung yung parang nagiging na lang siya. Parang script na lang. So, pag alam ko yung script, madali ko masasabi. Pero once once yung topic medyo hindi ka tulad yung mga previous na pinagtrabawan ko, medyo nahihirapan.
Mm-hmm.
Especially yung mga conversational.
Yung mga ano?
Yung conversational lang po nakamustahan ko. Medyo may pag-uusapan na something. Doon ako nahihirapan.
Pagdating sa conversational, ang number one recommendation ko is mag-journal ka. Sulat mo kung ano nangyayari sa'yo araw-araw.
Ginawa ko siya pero hindi sulat. Ginawa ko siya yung nagre-record lang ako. Everyday nagre-record ako. Tapos sinasabi ko yung nangyayari ko.
Well, kung wala kang problema sa grammar, mag-record ka. Pero kung may problema ka sa grammar, sulat mo. Kasi iba yung nagagawa ng sulat sa brain mo eh.
Okay. Kasi nag-lecture rin ako nag-lecture. Pero ngayon lang talaga ako nagsulat. Talagang basa, recording, basa, ganun lang.
Mm-hmm.
Kaya parang napag-aralan ko na, pero makakalimutan ko rin.
Pag sinusulat mo, nagsistay sa memory mo. Anyway, teka lang rena-review ko yung mga sagot mo. So, nandito na ako sa shortened sentences. So, nagawa mo naman ng maayos na breakdown mo yung mga sentences dito. My sports. I'm athletic. Walang anto. Kasi description. I was able already. I learned many sports at a young age.
Wala pong unathletic. Walang athletic.
Tapos ito, I learned many sports at a young age. Most of my sports are ball games. I started playing volleyball and basketball when I was in the province. Pwede rin so okay lang. Eventually, I also learned different sports. I became varsity for volleyball and track and field. Runner ka. Every year, I try to learn at least one new sport. But what I really focus on is basketball since we moved here in Laguna. Until college, I engaged myself in sports. I was referred to join a table tennis competition by my classmates. That time, no one is willing to join. Although I don't know how to play the game, I still decided to continue. I don't want to waste an opportunity. I always grab it when it comes. The reason why I like sports is because I have an asthma before. It always attacked me every night, and I felt like I was going to die. My mother tried so many things to treat my asthma. She even let me eat a tail, Tail, Ptale. May asthma rin ako eh, kaya nakaka-relate ako dito. Um,
Wala rin naman po.
as time went by, my asthma disappeared by itself. Hindi gone. Disappeared. I'm not only active in physical activities, I'm also playing online games as well, especially shooting games. I began playing Counter-Strike. I'm not really good in that, nor bad. I currently play Valorant with my friends. I reward myself after the review by playing that game. Deuce, having pets in your home is cool. We have a kitten which we bought for only 2K because it belongs to one of my partner's friend. It's a Persian cat. His first color is orange. Parang tama naman to. His eyes are tantalizing. Even he used to play bite us. His paws are so cute. From tiny, ayun, dito, ayusin natin to. From tiny, I can say now, he's pretty fat. We got him when he was tiny, period. Now, he's pretty fat. Ganun.
We got when we were five.
Oo.
Yun lang po. Medyo nalilito ako minsan kung anong gagawin ko sa ayos.
Sa?
Parang tinuro sa atin yung mabasa parang eat daw ganun ko ako. Pero usually ko favorite yung pinaka.
Mm-hmm.
Yun sa mga pet ko. Ano ko dapat dito?
He or she, imbes na it. Kasi pag it, objects yun. Usually, sa objects ginagamit yung it. Or sa mga animals na hindi mo ma-determine kung ano yung gender. Gaya ng mga insects. Hindi mo naman malalaman kung male or female yung insect eh. Kaya usually, it ang ginagamit nila sa insects. Tapos yun, yung his paws, walang apostrophe. P-A-W-S lang to. His paws are so cute.
Wala. Ayaw ko.
Mm-mm.
Yung forest.
Hmm?
Kasi ko yung sana, forest color is orange. Yeah.
Pwede rin ano eh. His fur is color orange eh. Or his fur is orange. Pwede mo nang tanggalin yung color kasi magiging redundant yun eh. Kasi pag sinabi mo ng orange, color yun. Though most of the time he's moody, we used to leave him and he's not biting us whenever we're doing that to him. Being a pet's parent is not easy because you have to be patient. It really requires perseverance, especially in cleaning his poop. But the very tragic uh, thing in having a cat is they live a lifespan that is short. I hope he lives longer. Mahaba buhay ng pusa. Maabot yata ng 20 years yun. Maiksi yung buhay ng ng stray cat.
Stray cat yung
Oo, 2 to 5 years lang ang stray cat. Pero yung mga ganyan, kung nasa bahay lang, yung mga at-home cats, mababuhay niyan. What are the advantages of hiring you? Advantages of hiring me? Hiring a hiring a right employee is a hard task to do. You have to be careful in choosing. There are lots of things to consider depending on what employee they're looking for. I believe that hiring me has many advantages. Aside from my willingness to learn, I always put myself as zero knowledge, so I'll be able to cope up with all the learnings. Kulang ng with. I also believe in hardworking, punctual, and humble after are better than lazy smart person. I think we don't need a person who has all the traits we're looking for. If someone has at least two or kulang ng R, three of that traits, that would be enough. As long as the person is are willing to try his best, just be teachable and humble. I believe a person who is always humble will always be blessed. I always do my best every time I was given a chance. I'm not going to sell myself for them to hire me. I'm just looking for an employer who has concern for, dapat for to, his or her employee. If I were already financially stable and would like to work as a teacher, pwede ka magturo sa pwede ka magturo sa YouTube. That can be your pwede ka magturo sa YouTube. That can be your credentials. Pwede ka kung gusto mo, like, habang nagtatrabaho ka sa call center, use your rest days para magturo. Magturo ka ng kung ano bang subject yung gusto mo ituro sa YouTube. Oh!
Mag-upload ako?
Mag-upload ka ng videos, gumawa ka ng lessons, magturo ka. Magturo ka ng kung paano mag-alaga ng cats. Okay na yung camera ng phone mo. Lahat tayo may smartphone na may video.
So, akala mo maganda online teaching kasi medyo mahirap natin. Kailangan grammatical.
Hindi, teach something simple. Or kung hindi pa perfect yung English mo, mag-Taglish ka muna. Habang nag-upgrade yung skills mo, mag-upgrade din yan. Pag nagpunta ka sa YouTube channel namin, makikita mo, kinuha ko sa, yung mga unang video ko, 1 megapixel camera.
Nakakapanood nga po ang mga ilang YouTube videos.
Tignan mo yung pinakaluma. Click mo yung videos, mag-scroll down ka sa pinakadulo. Makikita mo anong klaseng camera yung gamit ko, anong klaseng background. Napakarami kong saka as. Hindi ka maniniwala na call center, Kasi introvert ako. Tapos, syempre, may sales experience. Marunong na ako makipag-usap sa tao in person. Pero sobrang awkward sa akin na makipag-usap sa camera or sa hindi ako sanay. Hanggang ngayon, hindi pa rin ako sanay na camera lang kausap ko eh. Pero kaya ako makipag-usap in person tsaka over the phone. Anyway.
Kumbaga okay sa akin, magsalita ako ng Tagalog kahit in front ng
Oo.
Pag mag-English na ako, na-intimidate ka. Para kasi sa akin parang ano ako magsasalita sa akin, parang gusto ng sarili ko, parang hindi ako makapagsalita ng maayos. Paano ako magiging confident, parang ganun sa akin.
Pag lumabas na yung content creation module namin, bili ka. Para magkaroon ka ng ideas tungkol doon. If I were, I love to teach students, but I don't want to teach teenagers. I want to teach street children who have no chance to study due to financial, I want to teach them for free. Ayun, YouTube. If you want to teach for free, YouTube.
Yun nga po. Kasi pag yung children, siyempre usually wala silang camera, ay wala silang phone. Pero hindi ko naman po
You start doing what you can do. Hindi yung, do not make your bigger goal as an excuse to not do anything. Diba?
Yun nga po yun. Hindi nahihirapan ako. Kasi, ang parang, ito gagawin ko ng ganito.
Oo, kayang-kaya yan. Someday, I hope to become rich so I can share my knowledge with them. You don't need to become rich to teach people. Itong call center training tips, ginawa ko to, website lang. Ang investment ko lang is, 1,500 to 3,000 pesos per year. Hindi mo kailangan yumaman para gumastos ng 3,000 pesos per year.
Sorry po kasi naman, breadwinner ko.
Okay.
Ay nahalagaan ko.
Yun nga.
Kumbaga, yung oras ko para magpapang.
Yep.
Kumbaga, parang ikaw, nagano ako. Nagalat ako ng ibang oras, parang, wala lang po ako magpapagulog siguro.
Ayun. Well, ang ano niyan, kadalasan may kailangan ka talaga i-sacrifice. Ako sa case ko, ang kailangan ko i-sacrifice games. Dati adik ako mag-Dota, yung mga usual dati, Warcraft, Starcraft, Diablo 2.
Hindi ko inaral ko yung mga ganyan. Pero may kadalasan na-addict yung mga tao.
Oo nga, yun nga. Do you have any questions or anything na gusto mong explain ko?
Siguro na lang. You're using this usage ng in or
in, on, tsaka at. Okay.
Medyo alam ko yung usage niya sa mga links, tawag dito sa time. Yung links yung talaga, tawag dito yung tao talaga. Yung gagamitin sa tao.
Okay, ang pagkakaalala ko kasi sa in, on, and at, ang shortcut, tandaan mo yung inside, sa loob. Pag on, sa taas, on top. Pag at, parang ang nangyayari kasi, pagdating sa location, yung, di ba, nalilito ka sa in tsaka sa at pagdating sa location. Anong mall dyan sa lugar nyo? Sorry?
Southwood Mall po sa Galleria.
Okay. Gagamitin mo yung I'm at Southwoods Mall. May Jollibee ba sa Southwoods Mall?
Parang wala. Parang wala po.
Anong kainan doon?
Romantic baboy yan.
Okay. I'm in Romantic Baboy at Southwoods Mall.
I'm in Romantic Baboy.
At Southwoods Mall. So, tandaan mo tong format na to. I'm in Romantic Baboy at Southwoods Mall. In, yung specific na lugar. At, yung general area. Kaya minsan makakakita ka sa mga job ads, we're located in unit 1706 at yung name ng building. 'Diba?
Apo.
So, yung in, yung specific, kasi inside, tapos at, yung more general area. Okay?
May yung sa ano po, may yung gamit sa tao. Parang, ano ba,
Parang bastos yun in, tapos tao.
kasi po,
Paano gamit sa tao? Bigyan mo ako sample ng sentence kasi bastos yung pumapasok sa isip ko.
di ba, parang, baga, in your eyes, parang on your eyes, parang mga ganun.
Okay.
Part ng tao, or mga halimbawa, kumbaga,
So parang you have vomit on your shoulder or on your clothes, parang ganun.
parang mga,
Okay, so pag nasa ibabaw, on. Pero yung sentence, yung phrase kasi you have something in your eye, 'di ba? Parang may dumi or you have
parang you have to be careful or on choosing or at choosing.
anong sentence yung gusto mo sabihin para dito?
Okay, yung ano po ba, yung kung kailan gagawin yung or at. Diba, nakalagay ko dito sa sentence ko na you have to be careful in choosing. Kailan gagawin yung on.
You have to be careful, ano?
In choosing. Yung po yung nakalagay.
You have to be careful.
Something na katulad ko na mga sentence na katulad niya. Yung kasi ako minsan nagkakaroon, parang
You have to be careful at choosing. Kailan mo gagamitin yung in sa ano, you have to be careful in. Good question. Usually, gagamit na ako ng grammar tool at that point eh.
medyo kahit pa paano medyo alam ko. Kasi na-review namin yung mag-review center ako sa left. Pero yun din, parang hindi nila nag-review.
Bigyan mo ako ng ganito na lang gawin natin. Kasi pag hindi ko ma-recall yung rule, ginagamitan ko ng trial and error yung process. So, ang first goal mo is bigyan mo ako ng kahit tingin mong mali. Magsulat ka ng ng sentences na feeling mo yun yung paggagamitan mo nun. Tapos, based dun sa sentence na yon, madedetermine natin yung rule. So, pwede mo siyang isulat. Padala mo na lang sa akin. Tapos, i-determine natin yung rule from that. Tapos, i-explain ko siya sa'yo kung bakit yun yung pinili ko. Okay? Oh, may follow-up lesson pa tayo. Anyway, yun, do you have other questions or ano?
Wala naman po. Wala naman po. Zero by next po. Kasi gagawin ko pa lang ulit yung mga left.
Okay, sige. Tapos, usap tayo ulit and yun, talk to you next week. Tuloy mo lang yung writing exercises.
Thank you po.
Sige, you're welcome. Bye-bye.
Happy New Year po.
Happy New Year nga pala. Sige.